Hello everybody, and welcome to Movie Logic. Today we're going to be looking at part 2 of Final Destination 3. If you missed part 1, I'll link it right here. There it is. Boom. If it didn't pop up, it'll be on the end card at the end, unrelated. But yeah, that should work. If it don't, YouTube's just being stupid. Anyways, if you notice, my shirt changed because I'm recording the intro a week after I recorded the whole thing, because I didn't think about that, and I didn't plan on this to be a 2-part series. I was trying to cram it all into one part, but I wasn't about to release a 35-minute video, so I split it into 2. Hopefully in the future we can avoid these 2-part series, so let's go ahead and get into this. So now we're at the last day of high school, everybody's getting the yearbook signed. Wendy is blowing out candles with her mind. Kevin finds Wendy and says, "Hey man, I gotta talk to you." And she's like, "Fuck nah." She takes off and they go out in the rain. So out in the rain, and I hate to be out in the rain in Canada. It's cold. You can tell it's cold because you can kind of see the breath. So they go from being a little damp to, we're kind of wet now, we're soaked. And she rolls her window down, and Kevin's like, "Yo, this happened before." And then she's like,
"Fuck you, Kevin."
"Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, that's what you get for trying to help." And as she pulls away, so does the rain. Watch the rain here as the car pulls off. The rain literally follows the car. So now these 2 girls are going tanning for the graduation because they need to look their best for all the kids that just didn't get to graduate.
Yeah.
God. But they have these slushies, these physics-defying slushies. Thank God you threw one away because the other one is causing all sorts of problems. She drinks the whole thing, leaving like, much in there. And well, this was a slushie and it's now liquid, so it means it's melted, which means it's warming up to room temperature. Something that's warming up to room temperature doesn't pour condensation out. And also, a plastic cup will not pour condensation out when there's no liquids around it. The top of the cup will be room temperature, the bottom maybe not so, maybe a little drips on the bottom, but this thing is just pouring water. And what does this magical water do from this cup? Drips onto this box, this back box, that gets water poured on it, and then like gets super strength, and it starts just rapidly, like, what would really happen, let me tell you what's gonna really happen. Tanning beds aren't gonna work. It's gonna short it out, nothing's gonna work, and the tanning beds are done. This fan, the world's strongest AC fan, blows over this coat rack, causing a mousetrap effect. The shelf that goes on the tanning beds and wedges itself, and possibly, might I add, and possibly wedges itself between these 2 beds. And then things start getting hot. How hot? Unrealistically hot. Tanning beds cannot get over 90 degrees. Not gonna happen, they can't do it. They don't make tanning beds go that hot. It's like getting in a hot tub that's boiling. Hot tubs don't get that hot. Hot tubs get to like just a little over 100 degrees at the end. You're not gonna get in a hot tub and then boil to death. It's not a thing. You're not gonna spill something into the electrical box for the hot tub and all of a sudden it's gonna boil the water. Not gonna happen. Hot tub's gonna cut off. So that's how much sense this makes. So the tanning bed starts overheating, which is, no, they can't get over 90 degrees. Sorry, bub. Also, they're made of acrylic, and acrylic has a melting point at 320 degrees. If a tanning bed cannot get over 90 degrees, how is it going to start melting and shattering something made of acrylic? Acrylic is temperature shock proof, which meaning this wouldn't crack, it wouldn't break, it wouldn't warp. It might would warp, but it would start warping at 320 degrees because that's its melting point. This is a tanning bed that can't get no hotter than 90 degrees. Yet, it's a damn oven now, and the tanning beds just catch fire and they burn to death. If you look at this picture, the roller coaster is backwards from how that roller coaster was originally. Look at that, like, how do you mess that up? Pictures predict our death. Nah, and then she's like, yeah, and then he's like, oh shit. And then these leaves show up that shouldn't be there because everything's green. Everything's alive, it's springtime, it might be a little chilly, but there's nothing around that's dead. And there's these dead leaves just flying around. Did no one rake for fucking 6 months?
This occurred 1 year to the day of the Flight 180 disaster. Look at the road sign.
No, she said the car crash happened a year before Flight 180, it says next 180. How do you mess your own movie up? Like, how do you mess your own movie's timeline up? It was Final Destination 1, and then exactly a year after Final Destination 1, which was the plane crash, then was Final Destination 2, which was the traffic pileup. And they flipped it in the movie. They flipped it in this one. How do you mess that up? How do you mess that up? It's your own series. It's your own movies. And then this guy, this fucking ghost, this like ghost box truck backs into, because no one's driving this box truck, by the way. Just kind of backs in and pins. Why is he backing up in the first place there? But anyways, and So the truck comes flying down the other way, so box trucks for days is doing what they want to do. Hits the back of his truck, which they jump out, and then the engine flies out and hits Frankie Cheeks in the back of the head. I have only a lot of problems with this. For one, let's just pretend that, you know, the engine's gonna fly out, which is not. We'll get to that in a second. That Frankie's car would have moved forward. Doesn't matter if it's in park or not, it would have moved forward. Doesn't matter if it was on the brakes or not, the car would have been pushed forward. You have a box truck and a pickup truck behind you with all that mass, and you're telling me that little car put him to a dead stop? Nope, that's bull. Also, the engine literally jumps out the engine bay and hits Frankie in the back of the head. There's a radiator in the way that it just says doesn't exist no more, and there's engine mounts that hold the engine in place that had to have been broken. Also, look, Frankie's not even in this frame. He is gone from this frame. Gone. Lewis is at football training camp at the gym, doing gym things like lifting weights and being men. And they're trying to tell him that people are dying and you probably need to, trying to help you out and let you know ahead of time. He's like, nah, y'all crazy, you're full of it, y'all in denial. It's a pretty nice head smash from a hammer strength machine. Oh wait, hammer strength machines don't have cables. Especially that one. I have yet to find a model like that. And I did look for a while. A model like that with the cables that do that. Those hammer strength machines like that don't have cables suspending the weights over the person's head, because that doesn't make any damn sense. So those don't exist. And there is Ian and Aaron making up scenarios. Let's make fun of the whole situation.
Oh, no, you know what? God, I remember. There was this guy, black cloak. I didn't see his face, but the ride attendant did take his sickle before the ride started, if that's helpful in any way.
And then the whole store starts coming to life. Forklifts start driving on their own, and bottles start getting spilled, and hammers start falling. That hammer, it took 20 takes for it to shift the gear. 20 takes. This is a real home improvement store, by the way. And so as they were doing their scenes, there was crew going behind them and cleaning them up because they had to be done. This is also why it's shot at night. And they had to be done filming before the home improvement store opened in the morning. So they had to get all this done in one night. Ian is saved from dying. He should have died right there. He was saved, so it passed him with Aaron, and Aaron gets some nails to the back of the head. Here's my problem with Aaron's nails in the back of the head. For one, the nails are way too long to fit in the nail gun it was in. These nails have to be like 9-10 inches, and this nail gun only can probably hold like a 5-inch nail. This is a kind of like a cordless nail gun, right? It's not going to discharge that fast. It has to recycle. It takes about a second or two to recycle, so it wouldn't fire that fast. You can drop those things almost, and they're not going to set off. You have to squeeze it manually. There has to be a mechanism to cause it to fire the nail, and it's not going to happen. So she wakes up abruptly after Stitcher steals this bracelet. It's her bracelet. She's just letting her use it. So she steals the bracelet back, and she goes to the festival that they're having for the whole 300 years of freedom, which is, we're going to get to that in 1 second. And she finds out those two people on the roller coaster in front of them was her sister and her friend, and they're all going to the festival. So when he drives to the festival, there's a real cool woof. So this guy, his only role is to put this damn stick here, and it hits the ball, and rolls hits this piece of wood. It hits the wood out of this trailer that doesn't have a landing gear for some reason, and then you think it would have fell forward, but instead it sits on 2 wheels, perfectly balanced. I've never seen a trailer teeter-totter off 2 wheels being perfectly balanced. Have you? That's crazy. And then this guy right here must really like fireworks and popcorn. How is McKinley having 300 years of freedom when America as a whole has only been free for 243 years? So McKinley shows up.
Just tell me how to start it off. Let's get this over with.
So he's preventing Wendy from walking forward, and then the fireworks go off. And this is a plot hole because Ian was supposed to cause her death. How is Ian going to cause Wendy's death when Ian was supposed to die before Wendy? That's where it wasn't explained. What was supposed to happen was Ian prevented Wendy from walking under the sign when everything went wrong, and the sign was supposed to squish Wendy because she was wearing the shirt, and that was the sign. It was the same exact, everything was about the same on the sign and her shirt. So it would have squished her. That would have been the end of the movie, but he intervened and ended up killing him instead. That was actually an accident. He wasn't supposed to die. It just so happened he intervened and it killed him instead. This was supposed to be the end of the movie, but when they did a test screening, people were like, that ending sucks, bitched and moaned, and then they made a new ending with a subway. So then we have our 3 finalists, who are Wendy, her sister, and Kevin. Earlier, when this douchebag went to go throw a candy bar away, he hits the trash can, but the trash can doesn't open, it bounces off, and then the train comes and it kind of forces it in this little section where there's wires are, you know. So these wires sitting here all being live wires, and this rat, well, mouse, it's more of a mouse than a rat. He puts his head where the wires are and it zaps him, boom, and it causes a malfunction and it trips the tracks to go back to being not tracks. Then we kind of get this weird wheel comes off, ricochets off the wall, and okay, I don't see that being a thing. The train kind of gets kind of wonky and gets on its side against the wall, and then, you know, Kevin gets his head grinded off. Then Winnie gets ejected. It's just that when Winnie goes flying, though, when the train comes to a stop, the debris kind of just stay there, but Winnie goes flying, like everything should go flying. And this scene right here, honestly, just because your leg's broken doesn't mean you can't move, and you've seen this train coming, so instead of shouting at it, you could have just rolled off to the side and been perfectly fine. And that's gonna come to the end of the movie. Nothing else really happens. So that's just going to about do it for Final Destination 3. I'm going to give this a score. I'm going to score every movie at the end of the video, and this is going to get a 4 out of 10. Now the score is how much the movie made sense and how logical it was. Let's call it a logic score. So I'm going to give this a logic score of a 4 out of 10. It's getting the 4 because it did have some really cool moments and some attention to detail that I probably didn't mention in this video, but I could always go back to. So it had some nice attention to detail. It scores so low because all the deaths are highly unlikely. Next week we're looking at Twister, which was released in 1996. We had groundbreaking CGI for that time period. How much did they get right? How much did they get wrong? I guess we'll have to find out next week. Also, if you're wondering what this is my new subscriber list. I know I've had a bunch of you subscribe between the first part and the second part, but I want to do them in between movies. This is my new subscriber list. Don't forget about it. Be sure to subscribe. Comment what you think, like, dislike. If you disliked, at least tell me why you disliked it in the comment section. If you liked it, if you took anything from this, just let me know. Comments are greatly appreciated. So that's gonna do it for this video, and I hope to see all you next week.